Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel, guys. So what I have for you guys today is going to be another episode of the Championship Roundup, and in this video here today, guys, we have a whole lot of action to go ahead and discuss from this weekend's Championship games. And this video is actually going to be split into two parts, guys. So the first half of the video is going to be me rounding up all the action that did take place over the weekend, and then the second half of the video is going to be my midweek Championship score predictions, as we have even more Championship action coming up this week, guys. So as always, I am very interested to know as to what you guys did think of your team's performance this weekend. So make sure you do leave a comment in the comments down below as to what you thought of your team's performance. As well as that, make sure you do leave your midweek score predictions in the comments down below for a chance to be featured in the next video. And speaking of that, actually, guys, I will include your guys' comments on screen now. So if any of you guys did successfully manage to get any of your score predictions correct this weekend, I will include your comment on screen now. So fair play to everyone who got a score prediction correct this week, because it was a pretty unpredictable week this time, in my opinion. You know, we had a couple of anomalies in terms of results. We've also got a new team who is leading the way in the Championship now, and we've got a lot to discuss in this video. So without further ado, guys, let's get into talking about it. So we start out with the game taking place on Friday night between Leeds United and Sheffield United, and in the end it was the away side who managed to grab all 3 points and have actually gone top of the Championship. Sheffield United fans, I'm sure you guys will be absolutely buzzing now, and in this game here today, they got off to the perfect start in this one. It was Billy Sharp, a bit of poor defending from Leeds, I thought. He managed to ghost in at the back post to give them the 1-0 lead. After that, Sheffield United had a couple more opportunities. Leeds, I thought, were looking very off the pace actually in this game. They weren't really firing on all cylinders like I thought they would be in like a derby like this, but Phillips managed to get them back into it with a very decent volley from the edge of the box, but in the end that wasn't enough, as David Brooks managed to give Sheffield United the lead again, and then that wrapped up the game. And a very composed finish from him. He is just going to be an absolute star in the future. I think that's obvious to see, but Sheffield United top of the league now. Where will they end up at the end of the season, guys? And then our next game was another Yorkshire derby, this time the early kickoff on Saturday between Sheffield Wednesday and Barnsley. And in the end, this one did finish as a 1-1 draw. So the result really doesn't do too many favours for either of these sides, really, of course. With the current rut of results which Sheffield Wednesday are in, they really could have done with a victory in this one here today. And they did come fairly close to that, you know. It was Adam Reach who managed to give Sheffield Wednesday the lead. A little bit of fortune in that goal, but nevertheless they did manage to take the lead. After that, they had a couple more opportunities where maybe they should have sealed the game up, you know. Barry Bannon had a very good opportunity. Jordan Rhodes had a good chance as well. They just couldn't seem to find that second goal. But Barnsley then got back into the game with a fantastic strike from Harvey Barnes. It was an absolute worldie from him. Definitely contender for goal of the weekend. And after that, Barnsley themselves did have a chance to win it, and so it could have gone either way in the end. But Sheffield Wednesday, what's your current opinion on your manager? I've seen a couple differing opinions in the comments in recent videos, and this result probably hasn't helped. And our next game was between Burton Albion and Ipswich Town. So two sides coming into this one, both not on the greatest run of form, so 3 points in the end was massive in my opinion for Ipswich Town. I believe they were coming off the back of 3 successive losses in this one, so for them to turn it around and get 3 points should see them start to climb the Championship again. Burton Albion, a very frustrating result for them. They themselves haven't been on a great run of form recently and have been struggling for goals recently. I think that's fair to say. So when Ben Turner gave them the lead in the second half, you thought that they may have been able to hold on to it. You know, they've not been awful defensively this year, but in the end Ipswich managed to unlock them with Waghorn getting them back level, and then a fantastic free kick in around about the 90th minute, which won the game for Ipswich in the end. And it had to be a moment of magic like that to go ahead and win the game. It was a little bit of a scrappy one overall, but Ipswich back to winning ways. A frustrating result for Burton. And then speaking of scrappy games, the next one was another one like that, really. We then have Cardiff against Millwall, which in the end did finish as a goalless draw. So probably not the game of the weekend, and probably the most controversial thing coming out of this one was the referee referee performance. Definitely not having a good one in this one, and I think, to be honest, I think most people have just come to expect this now in the Championship, that referees are just so inconsistent with their results, and this was more of the case in this game here today. Millwall had a penalty turned down, which probably should have been a penalty. Cardiff had some bizarre decisions go against them as well, and overall it just accumulated into a 0-0 draw. So not the best game in the end, and a bit frustrating for both sides. And our next game did see Fulham and Bolton go up against each other, which in the end ended in a 1-1 draw. And I think both sides will be a little bit frustrated actually at the end of this not to pick up all 3 points, because both sides did show signs in this one to go ahead and do that. In the first half, Fulham had a goal disallowed from, I think it was Sheff Utd. Probably the wrong decision as well. He did look to be onside, shown from the replays, which the goal was ruled out for. But then after that, just a goal which sums up Route 1 football really, was scored by Bolton Wanderers. The goalkeeper just launched the ball up the pitch. For some reason, Fulham, it just baffled their defence and seemed to split them, and then Sammy Amiobi managed to coolly slot the ball into the back of the net. And after that, in the second half, Bolton did have a couple of chances to make it 2-0 to them. Adam Armstrong had a very good chance, but the Fulham keeper Burton made a decent save, and in the end it took a 94th minute equaliser for Fulham to get back into the game. So heartbreak for Bolton in the end, but they do manage to continue their unbeaten run, so they're showing signs of improvement at the moment. But Fulham did create chances but couldn't score enough to get all 3 points. And our next game was between Norwich City and Derby County, where in the end it was the away side Derby who managed to claim all 3 points with the 2-1 victory. And quite an interesting game this one, of course. Both sides were coming into this one on very good runs of forms respectively, so it was always going to be an interesting clash to see how these two sides did combat each other. And it was a fantastic opening goal from David Nugent, one of Derby's main men this season, I'm sure, with just a curling effort into the back of the net from the edge of the box. A great way to open the scoring for Derby. In the second half, Norwich did show a response with Tim Close getting them back into the game, but fair play to Derby in this one, you know. When Norwich did get that equaliser with Tim Close, they weren't happy to settle for the point in this one. They went out with flooding men forward and were really pushing to get that winner, and in the end that positive style has paid off for them with the goal from Winnell. So fair play to Derby for going for it, paid off in the end. And our next game was between my club Preston North End and Brentford, where in the end it was the away side who managed to grab the 3-2 victory over Preston. And now that's 2 weeks in a row now where Preston have lost by 3-2, so very frustrating, I'm sure you'll understand. But in terms of Preston, our defending in this one, we were absolutely all over the shop, and I suppose, you know, a bit of that is understandable. We've got quite a lot of injuries at the moment with our defensive line. I think that was quite obvious in this one, you know. Brentford were creating chance after chance. Really, our midfield was completely overrun in this one, and Brentford really were playing some good football at times, and so I can't really have too many complaints in this one. Brentford just were the better side in this one. Preston did score 2 marvellous goals, really, you know. The goal from Maguire, fantastic solo effort, and then the volley from Barkusen, 2 fantastic goals for Preston, but in the end it was never going to be enough with the way we were defending in this one. And so Brentford at the moment on a very nice run of form at the moment, and you know, even at the start of the season when they weren't picking up results, they were still playing you know, decent football, and so that is now turning itself into results as Brentford are going on a decent run. And our next game saw Wolves drop from the top of the Championship as they suffered a 2-1 defeat away to the hands of QPR. And so going into this one, QPR weren't on the best run of form, so fair play to them for taking the game to Wolves in this one, you know. Wolves, I thought, were quite far off the pace in this one from what we've seen at times of them so far this season. I mean, they had a couple of glimpses of good football going forward, you know. The goal they scored, Jota had a very nice run for that to pull it back for Bonatini, but apart from that and a couple other instances, they were far off the pace in this one, and QPR managed to take full advantage of that with a really spirited performance, and they did deserve all 3 points in this one in the end, in my opinion. It was Connor Washington who gave them the lead in the 41st minute after a bit of sloppy defending from Wolves, and it was Matt Smith in the 81st minute who managed to wrap up the winner for them. And so in the end, QPR were causing all sorts of problems going forward. You know, Luke Freeman, I thought, had a very good game. Masamu Luongo as well looked decent in midfield, but apart from that, all 3 points for QPR. decent performance from them. And our next game was between Reading and Middlesbrough, where in the end it was the away side who managed to grab the 2-0 away victory. And this was just what Middlesbrough were in desperate need of in this one, you know. Coming into this one, not on a great run of form, and really do need to start climbing up the championship now, you know, with the amount of money that's been invested into this team. There are quite a few expectations on them to do well this season, but fair play to them, they managed to get all 3 points in this one. It was a Leadbitter penalty and an Assombalonga header which managed to wrap up all 3 points for them in this one. Reading, I thought overall were quite poor really. They didn't have many chances. Sonny Aluko had an alright chance from sort of a speculative volley, but apart from that they weren't really creating much, and in the end Middlesbrough were just a better side. And our next game saw Sunderland extend their winless streak to yet another week as Bristol City managed to get the away victory at the Stadium of Light. But fair play, in the first half I didn't think Sunderland were all too bad, to be completely honest, you know. It was Bristol City who did take the lead thanks to Bobby Reid, one of their star men this season, and a bit of poor defending, you know, from Sunderland to allow that to happen. Really, that's been a common cause for them so far this season. But fair play to Sunderland for getting back into the game. It was Graben who got them back into it, and after that they probably should have gone to take the lead in this game. They did have a couple of chances, but the game did tend to take a little bit of a momentum switch in the second half. Bristol City, I thought, had a massive improvement going into the second half. They were asking a lot more questions of Sunderland, which they weren't really doing too much in the first half, and in the end that pressure did manage to pay off as they of course managed to grab the winner in the second half. And so Sunderland really not in a good run of form at the moment. I'm very interested to hear some of the opinions on what Sunderland fans think are going wrong at the moment. You know, I think that their last home victory came in December last year, which is absolutely baffling now, and of course they still sit second bottom of the championship with Bolton catching them up. Our next game was the evening kickoff on Saturday between Hull City and Nottingham Forest, and what a game this was in the end as Forest managed to secure the 3-2 away victory. And this really was a brilliant game in the championship, and I mean we have to talk about one player first of all, Kieran Dowell for Nottingham Forest. What an unbelievable game this guy had for them, scoring a hat-trick, and he was just absolutely electric in this one. The pick of the goals had to be his first goal, an absolute long-ranging driving effort into the back of the net. A fantastic effort from him, and if Forest can, you know, really keep him fit this season and get the best out of him, get the right players playing off him, he could be a real key man for them this season. And Hull City, I did feel a little bit bad for, you know, in this one. Going forward, they were causing quite a few problems. They were just undone really with some shoddy defending at the back, you know. The goal which Jarrod Bowen scored was a terrific curling effort into the back of the net, and of course another talking point from this one was the protest which was done, you know, when all the fans threw the tennis balls onto the pitch. Of course, issues at the club at the moment at Hull don't seem to be brilliant with the owners, and so the sooner that's resolved the better really. And our last game to talk over was the derby taking place on Sunday, where in the end it was a bit disappointing. I'm not going to lie about that. Between Birmingham and Aston Villa, it did finish as a goalless draw in the end, and there's always a bit of an anti-climax when this sort of thing does happen. You know, there's a lot of hype building up to the match, and in the end it does let you down a little bit. But to be fair, both sides in this one did have pretty big chances to go on and win this game, you know. Birmingham had big chances. Jota had a great chance when he went through on goal. Isaac Vassell had a really bizarre chance when Sam Johnson just seemed to blast the ball against him, and Sam Gallagher as well had a decent chance for the home side. Villa as well had their fair share of opportunities. They actually hit the crossbar twice in this game, and Thomas Kujak made one unbelievable save in the second half for Birmingham. But apart from that, a bit disappointing in the end. Either side could have probably won it. So guys, that was all the games that did take place this weekend in the Championship. What do you make of all this week's action, guys? Let me know down below. So in terms of my result of the weekend this time out, there are quite a few contenders for this one, but for me personally, I'm going to go ahead and give it to QPR for going ahead and getting that 2-1 home victory over Wolves. Of course, they were top of the Championship and they managed to knock them off. Fair play to QPR. And then in terms of my goal of the weekend, there are a lot of contenders for this one this weekend, so I'm very interested to hear as to what you guys have to say. But for me, in my opinion, I'm going to go ahead and give it to Kieran Dowell for his first goal against Hull City, of course. He went on to get the hat-trick, but his first one was an absolute worldie. So now, guys, we do move on into my midweek score predictions. So I'll just go ahead and quickly rattle through all of these. Like I said before, guys, all the fixtures will be listed in the description down below, and you guys can easily go ahead and make your predictions. But in terms of mine, Burton against Barnsley, I'm going to go with a 0-0 draw for that one. Cardiff against Ipswich, I am going to fancy the home side to get back to winning ways with a 2-1 victory in that one. Fulham against Bristol City could be a decent one to watch out for this time out, but I'm going to go with a 2-2 draw for that one. Hull against Middlesbrough, I'm going to fancy the away side to get that 2-1 victory. Leeds against Derby is a very intriguing encounter, actually. Of course, Derby on a terrific run of form at the moment, coming up against this Leeds side who didn't look brilliant last time out. I'll go with a 1-0 away victory for Derby in that one. Norwich against Wolves, quite an interesting one again. I'll go with a 1-1 draw for that one. QPR against Sheffield United, of course. We've already seen QPR cause an upset this week with the victory over Wolves. Can they do it again? I'm going to go with a 2-1 Sheffield United, but I say that a bit reservedly. But Sheffield Wednesday against Millwall, I will go with a 1-0 Wednesday victory. I fancy them to bounce back. Sunderland against Bolton, that is an absolute huge game at the bottom of the Championship, and with Sunderland's current home record, I'm going to go with a 1-0 Bolton away victory. I really do fancy them. With the way they've been playing lately, I think they'll cause Sunderland a whole lot of problems, so I'll go 1-0 Bolton. Reading against Forest, I'll go 3-1 Forest. I think they've been quite good lately. Birmingham against Brentford, I'll go for a 2-2 draw. And then Preston against Aston Villa. As much as it pains me to do it, I'm going to go for a 2-1 Villa victory. Preston at the moment just have no fit defenders at all, really, so I can't see us keeping a clean sheet, and I'll say 2-1 Villa. So there you guys have it. That will wrap it up for this episode of the Championship Roundup. So if you guys have enjoyed the video, make sure you leave a like. It is always massively appreciated. As well as that, guys, make sure you check out all the other links in the description down below, and make sure you subscribe for regular Championship content. But apart from that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all in the next one.